or their local restaurant, wherever it's being televised. It's good to have you all here. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and our new Director of Student Services, Brianna, has offered to do the pledge. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very good. Thank you, Brianna.
You're very welcome.
All right, call to order. Taking a look at the agenda for tonight. Are there any agenda adjustments?
Yes, we have two, and I did add the documents into some of the documents that were added into the folders, but I also printed just in case. Under new business, we have an F, the high school schedule update, and G, athletic code of conduct.
All right. Any other adjustments? All right. The date and time of our next meeting will be August 18th at 6 p.m. And taking a look at the approval of the minutes, I think we should postpone those until the next meeting. I was not in attendance and we don't have a quorum to approve the minutes. So we will postpone those until the 18th. Public comments, board recognition. No one is here at this time, but should someone walk in and want to make comments, we will reserve the time for that opportunity. Moving on to board chair remarks. I will be sharing with the board the dates that I anticipate being away so that we have coverage for all the activities, including not only running the chairing the meeting, but also as we get into the budget season. And so I'll be talking with the board about that. Tonight, we will be having a non-public meeting to talk about an evaluation and to briefly talk about where we're at with the formation of the advisory budget committee, which is coming together. Those are my remarks for this evening. Reports to the board. Dr. Pogowski.
So it's been a busy summer. There's been, despite all the vacations, there has been quite a lot going on. Want to just highlight a couple different things that we had. We had some grief support groups at Messinic for both staff and students. And we also got some really amazing handouts for staff from our insurance company. Our counselors and psychologists set up two amazing support groups. We had our furry friends from Cold Springs, Healing Paws come. We did not have big turnouts at any of the events. However, I do think it was really important that we offered the space if students needed it. Our counseling staff are aware that as we come back to school, as we transition back, that people may need support, and we'll be prepared. They have some activities ready in the event, and if something ends up becoming more prevalent, then we can address it as it comes. But again, I would really like to thank the crisis team who helped contribute to the communication that we shared with our community and helped arrange and facilitate our support groups, and will be providing ongoing support. So again, that was a heavy lift, and really like to thank that group.
May I add something to that? I, and I'm sure others here, attended the calling for Isaac Phillips, and it was a pretty amazing experience. I got there shortly after 6 and actually got into the church shortly after 8. The turnout was phenomenal, which was really, really good to see. And I have to say that Mr. and Mrs. Phillips did more to support the people who were there to support them. And they were their strength throughout the evening. Even by the time I got there, I don't think I'd ever been hugged as tightly after all the people that had preceded me. But it was a wonderful event. I was very pleased to see the way the community had come together. And I want to put out a thank you to the superintendent, because even though a lot of the activities that were planned were not attended by a large number of people, I think there were many reasons for that. One being that there was a long period of time where the entire community was aware of what was going on for Isaac. And I think the grieving process, the mutual support between colleagues, faculty and students, families, et cetera, had been going on for a long time. I think that time gave people that opportunity. But nevertheless, there was a tremendous amount of work that was put into place to further support students and faculty as well. And the fact that it wasn't used doesn't hide the fact that there was a lot of work behind the scenes. So I want to thank the superintendent and those who helped her put that together. It was a great plan, should it ever be needed. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
One of the major projects that I was working on throughout the month of July, when I was not on vacation, was a staff handbook. Throughout the year, there have been some circumstances that have arisen that either were confusing because we didn't have a clear processes lined out, some feedback that we received from the labor board about some procedures that should be included, some advice from legal counsel on what exactly we should be including in a handbook. The truth is that we want a staff handbook to be something that is user-friendly and something that provides information that people can actually go to and receive information off of. So with that in mind, I looked at a number of different handbooks from surrounding districts, from other states, local districts, and tried to compile a staff handbook that was a useful source for new staff and veteran staff alike. So that is, again, that is on the agenda later, but that's, again, where that was derived from. Our policy review, in reviewing other district handbooks, I also started conducting a cursory review of our district policies, and I found that many of the policies that we have, other districts do not necessarily have. And it started me down this rabbit hole of why we have certain policies and how they're coded. And I'm learning a lot as I go through. So as I'm going through each policy, so I finished all the A's, I'm formatting to make sure they're, and I know this sounds silly, but to me it comes across as more professional when you open our policies and they're all in the same font. They're all in the same format. They all have the same taglines in it. So I just went through and formatted all of the A's. The A's, I think, are going to be the easiest ones to do. I think as we get into I and J, it's going to start getting a little bit dicier. But one of the things I noticed, for example, is that we include in our policies a lot of forms. I haven't seen any other district that includes any forms in their policies. So they have a policy that says you will have a field trip policy, for example. They have a field trip policy, but then they don't have what we have, which is all of these additional forms. So in kind of working with NHSBA, my understanding is that the forms that NHSBA provides us are samples. They're examples of something that goes along with the policy, but they shouldn't necessarily be part of the policy because forms are going to change. And every time you change a form, if it's a policy, you have to go to the policy committee and update it. So while the policy would remain the same, the form can change. We ran into that last year when we were looking at our bullying letters. Our bullying letters hadn't been updated in, I think, 8-9 years because it was part of a policy, whereas we brought it forward and changed it. So again, that's just an example of one of the things I'm noticing. So as I go through, I'm creating this Excel spreadsheet that shows the policy that we have, when it was last updated. Does NHSBA have that policy as a policy or as an appendix? So we'll, again, as a policy committee, be able to kind of go through and say, what do we need to take a look at? What do we need to rescind? What do we need to update? So that's, again, something that I'm just ticking away at in my free time. Summer seminars. After a full year in this position, I feel like not that you can never predict the blind spots, but I think that I had some blind spots last year. And one of the things that I really wanted to make sure is that I worked more closely with principals over the summer months to front load information to prevent some issues, to actually not even prevent issues, just to make it a better working group moving forward throughout the school year. In that same line, there's a lot of things that are happening over the summer with staff. So we have, through some title funding, we have our PD blast, and I think Melissa talks a little bit about that in her report. But so we have staff doing self-directed professional development opportunities, which is a fabulous opportunity. It allows staff to really pursue a passion, which is fabulous. In early August, we have multiple trainings with principals and assistant principals to front load information, such as district bullying and harassment procedures, frontline central and frontline hiring procedures. Our online platform to communicate with parents, it's called Aptogy, but when we should be communicating, how we should be communicating, and then looking at a data dive into the assessment scores of students and review best practices. There's just a variety of things that I think front loading the information helps us really set the tone for the year to come. Mrs. Allen, the assistant principal at Boynton, and Mr. Jeremy Taylor, the assistant principal at Messinic, are going to be running a substitute seminar at the end of August. Very similar to how we ran it last year. It provides valuable information for substitutes, what a day in the life would look like, what to expect, what to be prepared for, and tips and tricks for a successful experience. While we had a different opportunity planned with behavioral expert Polly Bath, staff surveys at the end of the year indicated that we needed to pivot in another direction. Polly's team was supportive when we gave them this feedback. And we're able to now offer 2 different opportunities that better meet our needs. That is one that is on August 19th. It's open to all paraprofessionals in the district. It's the Great Paraprofessional. That is actually one of Polly's original positions. She was a paraprofessional. And it's behavior management skills. The second is August 20th, and that's open to all staff across the district, managing and changing difficult classroom behavior that interrupts instruction. So again, something that I think can interest both new and veteran teachers as behavior starts to shift. Some upcoming goals and projects that I have on the horizon are hiring effective staff in buildings and across the district that support our mission, facilitating the successful opening of schools for teachers and students, and that includes our sub-seminar, the new teacher orientation, in-service days for staff, and our first day of school, promoting a vision of a learner, and begin the work on content competencies. That's going to be work that's going to follow us throughout the rest of this year. Utilize Frontline Central for mandatory trainings and routine forms. I am really hoping that we're going to see a significant shift in the holdup in the confusion with the paper forms. Sometimes there can be a week, 2-week lag in getting all the forms to everybody from one building to the other, getting them signed off, getting them back. So I'm really hoping for increased efficiency. Promoting our updated capital improvement plan to help the community understands our facility needs. One of the reasons I put out that post today was to show some of the work that is happening in our district right now. The concrete work over at Boynton, and there's parking lot lining at Messinic, and they're tearing out some sections of grass. And then next week we start the plumbing over at Highbridge, and then the driveway at Highbridge and Messinic. So we have a lot going on. And then develop and promote and pass the school district's budget. That's probably, even though it's on the last on the list, it's probably the biggest one that we have. I also shared a bunch of important dates. I do have a date for the substitute seminar. That'll be in the afternoon of the 21st at this moment. At the time that this went to print, I did not have a date and time. So.
Do you have a time for the new teacher orientation?
We do, and we will put an invite out to the school board to come.
Yeah, I encouraged, last year I went, and it seems like the best time to go is at lunch. when they're having lunch, and you can just socialize and introduce yourself and talk with them and find out what they are here to do and so forth. So if you are able to make it, I encourage you to do that.
That's all.
Is that a question on the substitute seminar? That sounds fantastic. Do you find though that at the beginning of the year is where you get the bulk of your people interested in subbing, or is it kind of ongoing through the year? And if ongoing, how do you meet those needs of new people that are coming in through the
Well,
year?
So it's really hard because we don't have like an onboarding recorded. What we did do is we recorded this.
Okay.
So we did record this, and then last year, anytime we had a sub come on mid-year, as part of the onboarding paperwork, Irene would send them the
that's it.
PowerPoint. It's not the ideal situation, but it's something. We've also talked about running a second batch, so to speak. We actually last year, it was primarily returning substitutes. It was, I think we had one new substitute, and it was all returning substitutes. Again, some of it was, I've only subbed in one building. What does it look like in the other two buildings? Or I've only subbed for a para. What's the difference between the two? Good questions. And we do have, I think we had like 8 people last year. It was a good turnout.
That's good.
And we put it out a little bit later. We plan on putting this out in the next couple days. So I'm really hoping that we can have 10, 12 people come. Even people who are just interested. If you were interested.
Yeah, you don't necessarily have to have signed up yet. Okay, good.
Assistant Superintendent, Ms. Gray?
Good evening, everyone. I have a couple of things to chat about tonight. One of them being the title grants and federal funds. As you may have heard, those have been paused and in some state of flux, but we recently learned that all of our title grants will be awarded. We have been awarded our Title I grant and our Rural Schools grant. We are waiting for our Title II funds, which support professional development, and our Title IV funds, which support student enrichment. The good news is that the size of Messinic District allows us to be one grant year behind. So the grants have a 2-year shelf life. We have finished expending the 23-24s. We have funds for 24-25 that are open and available that we have budgeted some activities for this current year. And the 25-26 grants, which we haven't been allocated, we haven't received yet, are in the queue and ready for us to budget and to plan for in a year ahead. So we're in good shape with those. This summer, the curriculum office has been busy thinking about instruction, thinking about assessment, thinking about the things that are involved in CIA. Mr. Fondas and I recently had a conversation about NWEA, which is our assessment platform district-wide, and bringing in the science component. It's a relatively low-cost item, but will allow us to calibrate our instruction in that area and hopefully increase our scores for students on the New Hampshire SAS. It's a much needed area of improvement. Last year we rolled out DFIT through the Student Services office, and I got some feedback about that tool at the end of the year. Teachers have used the AI tool to support their instruction. It provides them with the ability to differentiate reading passages, for example, so that if I have a high school student whose reading level is below a high school level, it will generate something that is appropriate for that reader. We are looking at a tool that is a little more robust than DFIT, Magic School AI. It's a little more costly. So I'm negotiating with the vendor to see what we can do for a district our size to make it worth our while. So more to come on that. Summer programming is wrapping up. Everyone has finished camps. We have a number of teachers who are now doing their self-directed professional development. We had 30 students attend the BMS field trip camps. They had a wonderful time. I got some feedback and exit slips from students in my office that talk about what they learned about just being adventurous taking a risk, those kinds of things when they went to Boundless Adventures. Very exciting. And just enjoying the time at Kimball's Farm. Pottery camp was offered at BMS as well. Highbridge Hill had an arts and music camp. There were 16 to 20 students every day for that camp. Very well attended. That one is a long-standing tradition. I think that was the first camp we held 6 years ago. So I'm very excited to see it continuing. Credit recovery was a huge success this year, the best that we've had in the few years that I know that we've been running it this way. 18 credits were recovered so far, and we have a couple of students who are still working on it. And then finally, Dr. Pogorzelski talked a little bit about our new teacher orientation days and professional development coming up. We will have our new teacher orientation day on the 21st. Lunch will be at around noontime, so you're welcome to join us on the 21st. What else did I want to mention? And teachers will be back full-time on the 25th at MRHS. And hope to see you all there.
I have one question.
Sure.
You mentioned, you were talking about the grants that will be coming in. I think I read in your report that you're anticipating that the amounts will be a little bit less this year. Will there be any repercussions for the district in terms of the lesser funding?
I think it will take us to be wiser consumers of funds. The allocations are a little down, not dramatically so, but enough that I notice a difference. For example, the rural schools grant was $15,000 last year. It's $10,000 this year. $5,000 is a significant chunk.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think we have begun a trajectory through the portrait of the vision of a learner, all of those things that has some real specific intention. We're asking schools to become more involved in the forward planning, and I'm becoming better at negotiating with vendors. So hopefully the impact will be slight. There's not much we can do to negotiate that. The hope is that we will receive funds in other ways. There are a number of other grants that are opening up that we are also looking at. There's a seed energy grant that might support us with some of our infrastructure costs. There's another grant that we have put out for emergency response. Just a lot of things on the table in the grant world.
So if I understand correctly, you are mastering the art of the deal.
Yes, it's going to be one of my new talents.
Very good.
Yeah, she's gonna have to put that on her resume because she's gotten quite a few compliments recently from people in the office when they couldn't negotiate something. They said Melissa tagged in and she jujitsu'd it, and she did a great job. So
Congratulations. Very good. Very good. All right. Brianna, would you like to give your report?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. My name is Brianna McBee. I'm honored to serve as the new Student Services Coordinator for the Messinic Regional School District. I am thrilled to join a community to this capacity who is so clearly dedicated to the success and well-being of all students here. I look forward to building strong partnerships with families, staff, and the community to ensure that we are meeting the diverse needs of all learners. My vision for the department is to provide strategic leadership and foster strong collaboration with all stakeholders. As this is my first report to the board, I would like to provide you with a brief overview of several key updates in our department. The extended school year program was well underway. When this went to print, it was on the 25th. However, our ESY program ended at Highbridge Hill Elementary School last Thursday, July 31st. We served about 44 students, providing a blend of academic, behavioral, and related services that align to the students' IEP goals and objectives. The feedback from families were overwhelming, specifically because of our awesome ESY coordinator, Shannon Brennick, who was sending weekly newsletters home to families who really did enjoy receiving that feedback and a cool little snapshot of the week ahead. Hiring for the special education department continues to be a top priority. That being said, we are actively recruiting for a BCBA, behavior specialist, a social worker, and case managers for Highbridge Hill Elementary School and Messinic Regional High School. Additionally, we continue to look for paraprofessionals across all 3 schools.
Brianna, I saw in your report that you might be relying on an agency that helps.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are utilizing ProCare Therapy, a staffing agency, to expand our outreach in order to obtain individuals who are licensed and meet the suitable needs for the special education department.
If they put you in touch with a candidate, does that candidate become an employee or is that a contract position?
The contract position.
Okay. Is that more expensive than? Do
Yeah.
you know?
I'll take that. So in looking at the actual numbers, we end up roughly making out because as a contracted employee, we don't provide benefits. We don't provide insurance. So the whole package together is about the same as
About a wash.
yeah, it's about a wash. It's not an ideal situation because they are not our employee. We contract. So my understanding is how this has worked in the past with these services is you bring them in for a year. After that year, if whoever we contracted with wanted to stay, that's up to us separately. They can choose to leave the contracted agency and we could choose to hire them separately. That has happened before. Again, we have had luck with the BCBA and one of the positions at Highbridge. And we're hoping for something in person at the high school. It's been a challenge.
Do they come in, these contracted employees come in as full-time employees, or are we sharing with other districts for services, or?
It depends what we're looking for.
Okay.
So for the 2 case manager positions, we're looking for full-time employees, and we're looking for in person.
Mhm.
Going to a remote situation where we could be looking at case managing is not ideal. I mean, we've been throwing around different ideas with the BCBA as far as hours. Do we need full-time? We're trying to be flexible here. We're trying.
But generally, they are full-time.
I think they can be. They can be, yeah.
Well, welcome, Brianna.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Any other to your report?
Yeah, so I would love to speak of some upcoming goals and projects that I have. So while I am just beginning my first official month here, I'm doing a comprehensive program review. So I'm conducting a full review of all student services programs that include the special education department, 504, counseling, etc. I have been doing little check-ins and a vision feedback meeting with any staff that are willing to meet with me over their summer vacation. So thank you for all. I have actually met with a number of service providers and case managers. So thank you for that. Improving IEP process efficiency. So streamlining IEP timelines and processes across all 3 schools. I'm noticing when I was a service provider here for 4 years, I noticed that there was a barrier of consistency. Everyone kind of did something different, and I would love for it all to have a streamlined, effective IEP process for the district. And family engagement. I would love to improve and promote open communication and understanding with families. Myself and Dr. Pogo had briefly discussed potentially having a coffee with McBee, where maybe once a quarter I have an hour or 2 where it's an open discussion with families in the community to just talk with me about anything and everything that has to do with their student here at Messinic.
Very good. Sounds like you're off to a running start.
Yes, kind of tripping a little bit, but yes. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you very much for your report. All right. We have a report from Gregory Pickering, and I believe Dr. Pogo will be giving that. Unfortunately, he is home ill, and we wish him the best in his recovery.
He was not looking so great this morning, so I didn't want him to come here and share that with everybody. So good news, despite the high school being continually in rough shape as far as staffing, very impressed, very happy with, they have almost every single position filled with the exception of special ed. This means for us, when I think about some of the challenges we've had in the past couple years, what we're going forward with will mean that we're not having additional staff. We're having staff take on additional courses, which means less burnout. I'm very excited about that. It's also consistency for students. So
Right.
we're looking very good. Again, special education is continuing to be, I think, the biggest challenge. As Miss Gray had mentioned, 18 credits have been earned as part of credit recovery, and that's from 12 students. So that means that some students earned 2 credits. That's fabulous. That's earning credits towards their graduation requirements. Mr. Pickering also talked about some accomplishments that we have. 11th grade students who are designated for awards from the College Board. We do not have permission from families yet to share their names, but when we do, we will put something out publicly about that. We also had 24 students participate in AP Lit and composition exam, and achieving a collective score of 2.92, with 79% of test takers scoring above a 3. So that's positive information. Again, athletics are starting, and Mr. Pickering does list out a variety of different dates, including freshman orientation on the 20th. That's always a fun time, seeing freshmen in the high school for the first time. They're a little shell shocked. Ellen, if you can remember what that's like. Yeah. Yep. And Linda's showing them their lockers. It's always, it's fun. And again, if you have any questions, I can relay them to Greg, or I can try to answer them myself.
I have a question about the high school business and science. So we have a person that's teaching both.
Well, no.
Okay.
Yes, as
Okay.
of the time of the report.
Okay.
And then we were able to hire someone. So we have
Okay.
hired someone fully in a science position.
Okay, so this person is.
So
teaching
this
the
person is
business
going to
of it.
be
Okay.
teaching in business. What had happened is Mr. Pickering had worked out a way that you can manipulate, right, the schedule so that you can have someone teach a couple business courses,
Right.
and then
Well, my big question was, was it a full-time business, or were we cutting back in classes in the business?
it was because we
department?
couldn't fill the
But na-
science.
But now you can.
We
Okay.
we filled the science. Yeah.
Okay, that's fantastic.
So we
news.
have 3. I repeat, 3 science teachers at the high school.
Yeah, and I'm so thrilled to see the third
Mhm.
one on that list there.
Yeah, we're very excited. She's going to be a great addition,
She
Yep.
will be.
and with an admin assistant as well.
Oh, yeah.
So we got a lot going
Got a
on.
lot going on.
A lot of going on at the
Yeah,
high school.
Looks good.
Well, please convey on behalf of the board to Mr. Pickering that we're sorry that he couldn't make it tonight, but it sounds like he's doing some great work getting ready for the school year.
I'll let him know.
All right. Mr. Fondas.
Add on, I guess. Good evening. As you can see, sports are starting this at end of the month, and the athletic directors will be holding their parent information nights. Over the summer, I've met with Jennifer Stansfield again, who we had in district last year for professional development at Boynton. She's coming back on the 27th to work with myself and Tammy and then the staff on just how to engage those middle school students in a different way, and empower them to speak up, have their own voice, and buy into their learning. Staff, as Ms. Gray mentioned, had some of their own professional development. We had some teachers looking at the co-teaching models. 5th grade mainly looking at social studies topics of Indigenous people, the revolution in Jamestown, and some staff members going deeper into the computer science terminology and assessment and working towards that. During the summer, well, continued during this summer, the maintenance staff has gone through painting, cleaning, floors getting shiny, carpets are being steam cleaned and presentable. So after a year's worth of students. So Tammy and I have worked, Tammy has come in a bit during the summer. Her and I have worked together on the welcome back presentation, of which we will meet with Jennifer Stansfield before the 27th to incorporate that into modeling some of the stuff she will be working with the staff on as we give our presentation. And then we worked on, well, I shouldn't say we, but mainly Tammy I give her the full credit. Worked on a poster for grit. It's we're bulldogs, so we growl, grr. So it's the grit, responsibility, respect, and relationships. The 3 R's we've had last year, we started to bring into the grit, just have students be able to just challenge themselves and push through their day. So Tammy's come up with this. It was not in the board packet. She has not physically shared it with me because she's on vacation. And her answer to me this morning when I asked her where it was, I am at the lake. So I'll get it. So, and August 11th, I'll be meeting with the my leadership team and focusing on what our next year will look like. During the summer, as Miss Gray mentioned, Pottery Club, we held, it had 6 students, and then the other 2 field trips, Boundless Adventures, which is zip lining. You got to climb up there. Kids had to get over a little bit of fear. That was 30 students, and Kimball's Farm was the 30 students. So staffing at Boynton, I am looking for a grade 6 science-focused teacher. And I believe I have my 2 para positions filled. We're just finishing up paperwork to move them forward. So if you know any science teachers, let me know.
Very good. Very
Oh,
good.
and the dates, sorry. Pop into Boynton, which you are more than welcome to come. It's on the 26th at 10 a.m. where we hand all the incoming 5th graders popsicles, talk with them, their teachers take them for a tour. I talk with parents. And then the open house will be on the 17th of September.
Anything else? Thank you very much. Mr. Saunders.
Yes, good evening. Highbridge has been quite busy this summer. I know it's summer, but after one day off without students, we opened our Husky Camp annually, as we have. We had 61 students participate. 6 of our staff provided them with activities throughout the week. Despite it being incredibly hot, everyone had a great time, and that continues to be a really popular program funded through Widow Island. On the 31st, we wrapped up our ESY program. As Mr. McBee shared with you, we had 36 students in person and 11 virtually. Again, a shout out to Shannon Brennick. The organization this year was just tremendous communication with families, parents, staff, everyone. It was just incredible. Arrival, dismissal, no issues at all. Couldn't ask for anything more there. Would like to acknowledge that we had snacks and food provided for our students throughout the week from St. Vincent de Paul. We thank you for their donations. Again, Shannon Brennick took lead on that, reached out to them and did the pickup of the food daily, and couldn't be more happy with that. July 29th, I can share that our school improvement plan was approved by the state, which is great. So we had to update our plan every year. Mostly dates for things that we were continuing to move forward, just updating the dates on them, a couple of additions, including looking for some more math supports for intervention. But our plan being approved is a go, which is great, which means the funding will come with that. We've already budgeted a fair amount of that, but we are moving things forward to support the plan. Again, Corbett has been more than pleased with our work once again in the presentation. Hiring, as everyone has shared, is a bit of a challenge. We are currently at Highbridge looking for a preschool teacher that is a special ed / preschool position for our 3-year-old program. And I believe we have a couple of paraprofessional openings as well in the preschool program mainly. We're excited about some of the changes we have coming this year, including full-time library. I'll tell you, putting the schedules together was a much easier task when you had 5 unified arts and not 4, because 4 obviously created that off day for everybody once a week, which sometimes made a headache scheduling wise, and having 5 of them is just straight and clean and nice for everybody. So we are looking forward to that. We've spent some time, or I have, sort of revamping our library the way it's set up, removing computers, furniture, setting up what will become the teaching area for students to have weekly lessons now that the teacher can do, along with read alouds and checking out books weekly. So we're really looking forward to that. Our pickup patrol program is ready to go. Power School was rolled over this morning, so I was able to call them and give them the news that we are just about ready to roll this forward. Parents will receive emails from Pickup Patrol for them to sign up their students in the app. It's an app on parents' phones. This is going to be used for our dismissal process, student management at the end of the day. Parents will set up a default plan for students, which essentially is if there are no changes on a regular week for my kiddo, here's what they would do on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It tells us their bus number or if they're pick up and who will pick up, et cetera, et cetera. Parents will want to make changes instead of having to send notes, which get lost or turned in at 3:00 when we're in the gym dismissing. Parents can make changes on the app on their phone. We will run a report at the end of the day, and all of our changes, bus passes, everything will show up nice and clean in the office, which is great. And it'll take a little training to get parents up to speed on that. But the good news is Pickup Patrol, they send out the sign up links to parents, and they continue to send them until parents are signed up, and they keep track of sort of who's in and who's not. So we can reach out to anyone that might be a little behind with that, but we're hoping it will cut down on we don't have a lot, but some of those issues with confusion about pickup or dismissal. Our kiddos, I mean, they're little, and some days they just don't remember what they're supposed to do because they were told on the way out the door, don't forget your pickup today, and kiddo forgot, and they're in the bus line, and parents out front looking for them. And so this will hopefully alleviate some of that for us and make things a little more efficient in the office with that process. I would like to give a shout out to our custodial staff. Will Manning, Jared Aho, and Katie Chase have been working incredibly at Highbridge this year. I can say the building looks really good. We were strategic in putting ESY on one end of the building so that the other was free and clear to have at it and clean and not be held up. But they've been wonderful about working around programs because we've had camps and kids in and out, and they've been really flexible with their work and sort of not interfering and knowing that they had to be flexible with some spaces couldn't get cleaned right away because they were going to be used for a camp maybe later in the summer. But they've done a great job. Things look good, and we're happy with where the building looks right now. And then last but not least, huge shout out to Lynn Tokola and Linda Garouge for the amount of intake of supplies and materials that comes through our gym right now is full of, there's got to be nearly 1,000 boxes in our gym that have all been opened. Stuff's been accounted for. All of those purchase orders have been gone through. We know what we have, what we're missing, what we're still waiting on. They are just top notch, and the organization is just incredible. So they have got things going, and we're in really good shape. Looking forward to the opening. My dates are on my report there. Not a whole lot to share other than just a reminder that we have different first day of school dates for our pre-K and K than the rest of our students. Our grade 1 through 4 students start a little earlier, and the other students start after Labor Day. Although our kindergartners typically come in and do some screenings on those days to get sort of an idea of where they're at, especially those ones that we don't know that weren't here for preschool. Get a sense of what level they're at, what supports they're going to need. That's it.
All right. Thank you very much for your report. You all sound like you've been working very hard over the summer. And
Busy.
it shows. Very much appreciated.
Hopefully you took good vacation time though, so you come back rested.
We're still working on that. We're still working. There's still time. One of the things I can do, if it would be helpful, is put together a list of dates for the school board, because there's a lot that happens on like mid-August to mid-September, including our open house date. So I'll put it all in one document for everybody and share that out.
Thank you. That would be very helpful. Is there any unfinished business?
Nope. It's all new.
All new. All right, we're going to move on to new business. Dr. Pogo,
Yep. So
the fund balance retention.
Yep. So from Rachel Anderson, our business administrator, we are requesting that the board to retain $299,091 from the unreserved fund balance for FY26. We have done this every year since 2013. It is a safety net for us. Since 2013, we have not accessed it. If we needed to access it, we would have to get approval for the Department of Ed. So we've done this every year. It's 2.5% of the current fiscal year's net assessment. And again, if at the end it does not get spent, it gets returned to the taxpayers in the future fiscal year to offset taxes. So I'm looking for approval for the board, for us to retain $299,000.
Can I have a motion?
I'll make the motion to retain the $299,091
For the unreserved
for the unreserved, thank
fund
you.
balance.
Fund balance, thank you.
Any second?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor? Aye. Any
Right.
abstentions or concerns? All right, approved. Go ahead, Dr. Pogo. I think you have one on,
A couple.
Just a couple.
Just a few. The next one is our grants management. Diane Legendre. I'm bringing forward her contract. So this is her contract for fiscal year 26. It's consistent with last year's, the same rate, $75 an hour for in-district and $70 an hour for remote work. She primarily works remotely, emails and does Google meetings with Melissa. She really helps keep us in line with our grants. Grants can be quite a bear to manage, maintain, track, and she helps us do all of that for both our state and federal grants. So we all benefit from her help here. So again, seeking approval for her contract.
all right. May I have a motion to approve the fiscal year 26 grant management services contract?
I'll make the motion to renew the grants manager's service contract for fiscal year 26.
May I have a second?
And I will second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Any objections or abstentions? Okay, pass 3-0. Dr. Pogo,
Yeah, I know it's a busy night for me.
you're busy.
So the student handbook, in the drive, you had the student handbook. And then the principals met together. They go through every year and they update different sections of it, obviously names and titles, but they things that work, things that didn't work. So they provide a summary of changes. Again, happy to answer any changes. If there are any questions, I mean, I did not think there was anything major in there. Again, page 40, they added a section on false reporting and retaliation. That's the biggest section that they added. The rest of it, generally speaking, it's minor language shifts. Again, the page 24, when they talked about the cell phone ban, we just added bell to bell. We've been practicing that in theory, but highlighting that as well. Other than that, nothing hugely substantial. So happy to answer questions, have the principals answer questions.
Any questions?
On page 72, what is the Smart Pass? Where it says added language
Yep.
about Smart Pass.
Smart Pass is it's an app. I think it's an app. It's an app that the students and teachers use for bathroom passes.
Okay. Oh, thank
So
you.
anytime
Okay,
that
yep.
they need to,
Yep.
yep. So just
just-
about how it's going to be utilized at the high
Okay.
school. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions, concerns? May I have a motion then to approve the handbook, the new student handbook?
I'll make a motion to approve the 25-26 student handbook.
May I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Any objections or abstentions? All right, fully approved.
So this will get posted on all the websites. It'll be, again, through some of the stuff we're onboarding with Power School, be able to have a section to sign off for parents that they'll be able to say, yes, we understand the handbook. So, but it'll be posted everywhere.
All right, Dr. Pogo, I believe you have more.
Yep, it's still me.
Still you.
The staff handbook, again, I'm happy to answer questions about this. I don't want to necessarily go through the entire the entire handbook with
great
everybody.
late-
We don't want
it's-
you to.
it's-
Perfect. Thank you, Ellen. Ellen
it's-
doesn't need me to.
But it is great late night reading.
It is great. Yeah, absolutely. You want to learn more about the district?
Once you pick it up, you can't put it down.
talks about certification, licensure, payroll. I mean, who doesn't want to know when they get paid? I mean, so again, we tried to make this one-stop shopping that has links hyperlinked directly in. So if staff have questions about policies, where we have important policies relative to staff, the staff acceptable use. I have a place marker. That's the one thing when the policy committee finalizes the chemical hazard plan, and that we will also add that in there. We have the contracts in there. You'd be surprised at how many people email us about the contract. They don't know where the contract is. So, you believe it, Ellen?
I believe it.
Yep.
Totally.
So, I mean, again, one-stop shopping, that's what we're going for here. Significantly longer than prior years because I think we just added more information. So, again, happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions or concerns?
I'm not thinking of any. There's no table of contents, though. You have to kind of scroll through to find the topic that you're, is there a table of contents?
Yep.
Am I missing that?
Yeah, it's page 2.
Page 2, okay. Listen, pretty far past that.
You're supposed to start from the front.
I'm supposed to start, and thank you.
This not in Hebrew. All right.
Yeah, vision of learner being just, is it just the core competencies are being kind of placed into the handbook? No direction on implementation or anything, or what?
So when you think of our vision of a learner is kind of like our North Star, right?
Yeah.
So that's our overarching ideas. As far as the different things that we're going to attribute to those and the different benchmarks that each school, each grade are going to have, we haven't developed those yet. Those would probably be included at some point in the student handbook as well.
May I have a motion to accept the student handbook?
Make a motion to accept the student, or the employee handbook,
The
right?
Employee handbook, I'm sorry.
And I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
All right,
Any objections or abstentions? All right, passed. And then last but not least.
It's not last.
Nope, we got
Unfortunately, we get additions.
Yes.
Yep. So we have the high school course approval per school board policy. So I do have that for Mr. Pickering. So again, this is always a complex issue, the high school scheduling matrix. It's a multifaceted process. We strive and we do our best to maintain class size within typical range. There are several factors that influence enrollment numbers, including our CTE program participation, staffing levels, and graduation requirements. During the development of this course matrix, the following courses were cut along with the rationale. So we ended up cutting physics. We did not have enough interest to run that as a course. Modern band and vocals, we had low enrollment after primary requests were scheduled. So again, when you think at the high school level, you have your primary requirements, which are your graduation requirements, and those are pretty laid out. You have to have a math. You have to have 4 years of math, 4 years of English, 3 years of math, certain social studies classes. Those are your requirements. And then you have to have your electives, which fill certain buckets. So we might have indicated that we have a lot of interest in modern band, but once we start plugging kids into their classes, we cannot make modern band work. Spanish 3 and Spanish 4, there were low enrollment and low requests for Spanish 3 and Spanish 4. One of the things that it had originally been on the matrix, and Mr. Pickering met with the Spanish teacher, they ended up being able to offer another full Spanish 1 class for another like 20 something students instead of a combined Spanish 3 and 4 with 4 kids. So they are again working on other options for kids who do want to pursue a Spanish 4. How do we help those kids pursue it on an individual level? Same thing with AP Calculus. We, at the time that there were 3 kids in it, and once we did the scheduling, AP Calculus only had 1. We can't run an AP Calculus class with 1 kid. So we're offering the opportunity for a student to enroll in VLAX, provide some support if necessary. So there have been some courses that have been combined as well, but these are courses that we're not offering. So these are the courses that we have coming up that we have under 9 students in. And next to it on the right-hand side, you see some of the explanations behind that. Some of these classes are honors and honors level classes. Sometimes that happens. Some of these are the building back up of a program. Sometimes you can have a really great program depending on the class that graduates. We just graduated a very vocally inclined class, a very large group of musicians and vocalists. So our band and music program looks a little bit smaller now. Hoping to again continue and generate that interest at the middle school level, which Mr. Landry is doing. We're hoping to see our numbers increase. So you'll see across the board our music numbers are low. There's also quite a lot of movement that happens once we start the year. Kids will request to join this class or join that class, but in this moment, these are the classes that are low.
I have a question about
Yep.
on a couple of things on the music one, and that I've
Which
seen that.
music one?
All 3 of
Yeah.
them that are listed on here. Are there 5 music classes running, and the other 2 have more than the minimum number? I mean, is the music teacher teaching? I mean, there's only 3 listed here for music.
Mhm.
So our other music classes are.
They're above 9.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay,
sorry,
that's what I'm
I didn't
asking.
understand.
Yeah, I didn't word that.
And
right.
where you see the multiple numbers, they're half credit classes. So when you look at music lab, there's 7 first semester, 7 second semester.
And the
same
foods-
with
yeah,
PE.
the same with foods and nutrition.
Yep.
Which,
And that's a weird.
Yep, and it's just the way the schedule falls.
And again, I would say the number of 7 and 4, that's in the morning when we have a group of kids go to Conval and Conant for the CTE program. The bulk of our students go in the morning, so that's a tough one. Historically, again, foods and nutrition is one of the most popular classes that they
Yes.
offer.
Mhm.
We also think that enrollment will increase. So once we have approval, this allows us to provide each teacher with a schedule, students with schedules. It allows us, and it's not something that we can shift, right? We're offering these teachers, we've offered them full contracts, so we're kind of in a spot where it's tough to make adjustments at this point. Mr. Pickering, and this kind of bleeds into our conversation about the schedule, has already proposed a different scheduling timeline to be able to bring this information to the board in May of next year, to be able to have some discussions about what we're offering. We're getting down to the wire right now. And so this is important. But again, happy to answer questions and explain anything if it's confusing.
I have another question,
Yep.
Liz. Are we seeing, when we look at these numbers and look at these specific courses, are we looking at historical decline in them, and maybe we need to in the future start thinking of dropping them from our program of studies and offering different classes? Or is this kind of an off year? Or
I think it's an ebb and flow. So
Okay.
you have a Spanish teacher that came in, who has good enrollment and is trying to get a Hispanic studies class
Mhm.
going. I expected that number to be low. It's the first time that's ever been
right?
been offered.
Okay.
The music in the modern world is also a new class. It's something that we haven't offered before. Foods and nutrition, I think that's an off year.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
And if you look at the other numbers, 15 and 16, is it just a scheduling conflict? Nazi Germany Holocaust, that's low.
Mm,
That's low.
extremely,
That's
yeah.
low for that course. And I would argue that algebra honors and geometry honors are, I think, where it's placed in the schedule because of other
Mhm.
honors classes. Sometimes honors classes block out other honors classes. So sometimes the enrollment's just, that is what it is.
Okay.
I will add, if we're thinking future and going forward in classes that will be in our program of studies, et cetera, the Department of Ed, is, you might recall, did some work with the minimum standards for school approval. And in that work, there will be some adjustments to our program of studies based on what is newly required at the state level for graduation and the kinds of courses that we have to offer. Some things are becoming mandatory. Holocaust studies is becoming mandatory. It's not going to be elective based.
Are they looking at it becoming, it has to be a separate class mandatory, or it has to be embedded in your social studies
There's got to
classes?
be some embedded pieces. New Hampshire history is required, is a half credit offering
high school?
going forward. Mhm.
Well, okay. That's
It is not an optional. It's a graduation requirement. So some of those things will be our undertaking for this year. So we'll see some of this naturally evolve.
okay, thank you.
But to answer your question, Ellen, it's more than usual. We're bringing more classes, and I don't think it's representative of enrollment. I think it's representative of the challenges of the course matrix this year. Yeah. And I can explain more of that and on F, my next one.
Okay.
I have a question in terms of every year at this time, the enrollment for particular classes can be different, higher or lower than the previous year. So with these kinds of changes, how does that affect teacher assignments? Like if you have a class that you feel is not viable, what becomes of that teacher who would have taught that class?
So there were classes that we put forward in the program of studies, and due to the requests on the course requests, we don't offer that course. So in English, the English department might put forward 20 courses when they can really only offer 16. And you'll go through and you'll pick, okay, so randomly there was a mistake, okay, on one of the course sheets that had journalism. We had like 27 kids put journalism down, and that was an error, but we went with it. We said, well, we got 27 kids who want journalism, so we're gonna find a teacher for that. And we ended up dropping Gothic literature because there wasn't enough interest in the course. So, and again, sometimes it depends on the year. Sometimes it depends on the kids. Again, we had a very musically inclined class last year that bolstered our numbers. We lost them, so lots of moving pieces here.
So you mentioned a different timeline for
Mhm.
next year. Is Greg looking at, or Ms. Pickering looking at, having the kids register much sooner? You said May, okay. Because then you can work out those tweaks if, kids are signing up for journalism, but they're not signing up for something
Looking
else.
at registering it a lot, having them register online through Power School for the courses. It reduces a significant amount of paper shuffling and the amount of human impact there. So there's an ability, we're probably one of a few schools that can still do it by hand because of our numbers. But it monopolizes quite a bit of our counselors' time at the end of the year, which is a busy time for college acceptance and graduation and whatnot. So yes, the timeline has just kind of been pushed forward to try to get the information out early so that if we do need to make shifts, we can make shifts.
Okay.
And not that we won't be in a similar position as far as our numbers, depending on, again, we have 16 kids in one foods and nutrition class and 4. Like in a perfect world, if we could average it out, it'd be fine, but the schedule just doesn't work that way. So I'm looking for approval for these courses to run.
Can I have a motion?
I will make a motion for these courses to run in the next school year.
Do you have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any objections or abstentions? Okay, approved, fully approved. Dr. Pogo, the athletic code of conduct.
Yep. So along with the student handbook, the principals also went through the athletic code of conduct and had, again, a few changes that were made. Primarily, they added that wrestling was offered to 7th and 8th graders. They added you have to be present for 50% of the school day to be eligible to play in that game. Exceptions are made on a case by, because there's always exceptions.
What was
things.
the previous?
It didn't.
Was there a previous?
It didn't say anything.
Oh, okay.
we added that uniforms have to be turned in. And if there's a damage to the uniform at any time during the year, it should be reported immediately. Again, I don't know if we needed to add this, but you have to have a uniform to participate in the event. That was added. And then probably the biggest piece was there was confusion over the physical, when physicals had to be added. We removed the language and just stuck with the language from the policy that said they need a physical on file within a year. The example that we had was not only out of date, but it was confusing parents. So again, that will be shared with our athletes as well. I'm very proud of our athletic code of conduct because it really supports the student part and the student athlete. I believe both of our principals who have to manage this piece do so. It's a very fine line of managing athletics and student academics. So
I have two questions. And I may not understand
Sure.
a particular issue, but it's my understanding that students who homeschool can still participate in the athletic program.
Mhm.
And so when you say that they need to be present for 50% of the school day in order to play, how does that coincide with those who homeschool?
It doesn't.
It does
It
not.
does not. Students who homeschool have to participate in their homeschool program. Our reach into the homeschool realm is not there.
Mhm.
So they provide documentation that they're a resident, and they're allowed to participate in our athletics.
Okay. And for students who are participating in athletics, but let's say are failing academically,
Mhm.
what recourse, what is the approach that the coach or the athletic department would take with that student?
So students are required to pass the courses in the previous quarter in order to be eligible to try out for whatever sport is next. So in order to try out for fall sports, they have to have passed their spring course. They have to pass all of them. There is a waiver process that students can engage in if they have not. You can engage in one waiver a year. That's something. So if you failed in quarter 4, you can engage in a waiver process that has at the high school level, it's pretty rigorous. You have to provide a weekly report. You have a plan. You have a weekly report. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z in order to get my grade up. The fall sports are interesting because essentially sports are ending or have ended by the time report cards come out. The real challenge is in the winter sports because they cross multiple different quarters. We finish quarter 1, start quarter 2, and then complete quarter 2 and start quarter 3. And so we, throughout the year, administration in both buildings monitor student progress during the actual season. Monitoring during the season can be a really great lever to get students to complete work. I've seen our coaches across the district be extremely supportive of students who need additional help, students who may or may not be coming to school late. Oftentimes coaches are the best lever because the school and parents, even parents, are struggling to get through, but the coach has a way of getting through, and we've leveraged that multiple times. We do have an academics first, so if a student is failing multiple courses during a season, then they can be benched. They're not necessarily off the team, but they will be benched until those grades come up. Same thing for behavior.
So the coaches are aware
Absolutely.
of the current
Mhm.
progress or lack of progress that a student is making.
Coaches are made aware of students who are failing or are engaging in behaviors. Coaches don't have access to every single student's academics. That's information that we provide on an as needed basis to the athletic directors and to the coaches. Again, we've been successful, very successful, I think, with our coaches in leveraging support for our academic program.
I do agree, coaches have a way in sometimes when others do not.
A quick question on the wrestling for the 7th and 8th graders. Is that being done over at the high school? Because I know there's lack of space at the middle school to get all those different programs in
Mhm.
that would be done. So are they just going over to the high school?
Yeah.
High school. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
have the rest of the packs.
Yep.
Those are hard to move.
All right.
So I'm looking for approval on those changes.
May I have a motion for approval?
I'll make a motion to approve the changes to the athletic code of conduct.
And I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? All right, 3-0. And then I do believe this is the last one, high school schedule update.
Yes, this is the last one. So we'd come before you before just discussing the high school schedule and some changes that were being made. And at the time, those changes made sense and would work. In practice, in actually trying to put those changes into the course matrix, it did not work. So if you remember, we talked about bubble classes. Those bubble classes, we could not meet our students' needs in doing that. The constraints that we had were offering 2 common planning blocks for departments. And when we did that, we pigeonholed ourselves and couldn't meet the student needs. So in opening up and freeing up one of those periods so that we still have a common planning time for teachers within one department, which is important. It's a NEASC recommendation. It would really help us work with our content competencies. Meaningful time, right? So we still have that. We just don't have 2 blocks of it. And in doing that, we weren't able to equalize the bubble blocks so that we would essentially have some staff who had 30 minutes more of prep time a week than other staff because of we need to be a student-centered organization. And as much as we tried to meet the needs of teachers in this, it wasn't meeting the needs of students. So when we put students first, there were some implications for staff. So we cannot move forward with the bubble blocks. Mr. Pickering and Mr. Taylor have communicated with the leadership team. And the response was surprising for me considering where we were a couple months ago. And it seems like everyone's okay with a consistent daily schedule, including biking block, which some staff, I guess, had reservations about losing 2 days a week. So the schedule that you have, and I did print for you, the schedule on the left is the schedule that we'll be running with for this year, and which is what the matrix is based on.
What does the plan for biking block look like, or is it still in the works?
It's still in the works. And Ellen, I think it's a multi-use block. There's an aspect of credit recovery here that and remediation that is going to be occurring.
Very needed. Right?
Very needed. But there's also opportunity for advisors to meet with classes for the high school to meet with different classes on, again, course scheduling.
Right.
It provides valuable time, and I think that some staff were concerned about losing some of that time. So I'm looking forward to Mr. Pickering and Mr. Taylor's plan on exactly what that's going to look like.
Okay, thank you. So you're looking for a motion?
I'm looking for a motion to approve the schedule.
I'll make the motion to approve the schedule for the Messina Regional High School for 2025-26.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? All in favor. All right, now we're moving to a part of the agenda that deals with policies. And I believe, Dr. Pogo, are you wanting to speak to that?
This is the second read for these policies, so unless there's any questions, if I can find my agenda.
While Dr. Pogo is looking for that, Jeremy, you're on the policy committee, correct?
Correct.
How is that going?
It's going well. We're working through, as things come in. There's a lot of reversions back to what it was previously, so it's just really kind of getting things in alignment. There's no big major policy issues that we've really come across in any way, any, red flags that we have to immediately address in any way. So it's really just tightening up some of the language and making sure that we're in accordance with certain things.
Our next meeting's August 14th.
Yes.
August 14th, and it's going to be a 2-hour meeting. We have quite a lot to cover. We talked about the chemical plan. That's one of the things that is coming up, and we just got a summer update from our NHSB policies. Any feedback for back to school. So anything that we have, we'll be discussing there, and we'll be bringing forward on the 18th.
Okay, good. Thank you for being on the committee.
So do we vote on them tonight as second read and then they become policy, or is there
There's
another?
just a read.
Okay, they're just a read. Okay.
Yeah, and then they become policy.
Okay.
Yep, after that, because we are doing 2 reads only now.
Okay.
We do?
Approval.
Okay, we need approval then.
Approve. That's-
Can we approve
Slate.
them as one slate?
Yep.
May I have a motion to approve the policies as listed?
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the policies as listed.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, approved 3-0. Now moving on to agenda building. This is the time in the agenda where anybody, it's open to anybody, but in particular to board members, if there's any items that you would like to see placed on the agenda for the coming meeting. And of course, your one shot is not tonight, But
No
if
pressure.
if there are any items that you can think of tonight, let us know. Otherwise, be sure to notify Liz, Dr. Pogo, and Jocelyn with time enough that it can get posted 3 days prior to the meeting, 3 business days prior to the meeting.
I can tell you some major things that we have for your preview. Will be some budget timeline documents, some back to school information, just to, again, schedule, like what does it look like for everybody?
The easy stuff.
Yeah.
All right, very good. All right, personnel. Dr. Pogo, do you have a personnel report?
Yep, you have the slate in front of you. Again, some of these people have come on throughout the month of July. These are coming before you. We had 2 resignations, which I would suggest with regret. And we had a variety of transfers. If you look at the transfer page, again, interesting movement. Very, very happy. We did have our PE teacher from the high school move down to the elementary school. And I would like to thank the union for letting us be creative in how we posted these positions, because it allowed for us to fill the high school position as well. So we have our van drivers all set. We have some paraprofessional movement. Again, all good. If you have any questions, happy to answer.
I think we're looking for a motion to approve the slate of personnel transactions.
I'll make a motion to approve the personnel slate.
And I'll second that motion.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed or any abstentions? Okay, all in favor. 3-0.
Can I ask a question at this point?
Yes,
On business, you said you found somebody, but they're not on here yet? Or I'm confused. Or is that something we talked about?
Say it. I didn't.
Yeah, I'm asking.
you were separating
So-
science and business and,
But-
When I look at the personnel report, I'm looking at number 6.
Mhm.
The description for number 6 is incorrect.
Okay, that's
Yep.
what I'm picking up on. Okay.
Yep.
We've shifted that, so that is business.
Okay, and then is there a?
We don't have that
Don't-
yet.
Okay, thank you. That's what I'm asking. Okay.
Mhm. And we'll have, again, there's more approvals that'll be happening
Yeah.
over the next. So again,
Okay.
that ability to continue to hire throughout August
That's
is,
what I was
yep,
thrown off with number 6.
yep, we don't have everybody.
Okay, and then one other item under personnel is the advisory budget committee. Would you like to speak to that? Or do you want me to?
I can just say that we put out the advertisement a few times. We ran it in the paper. We're trying to generate interest. And we have some names and we've put them together for you and,
And we will talk about them. in non-public. All right. Final comments from public, if there was public here to speak with us. We will be going into a non-public session, the board only. And so I'd like to have a motion to move into non-public.
I'd like a motion to move into non-public under RSA 91-A3, 2A through C.
Anybody have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, in favor?
Oh. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so I have 7:23 that we will be pausing our board meeting and moving into, we'll take a 5-minute break and then we move into a non-public meeting.
Okay.
you don't need me for this.